go! Woo! What's good, listeners? Welcome to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Good morning, Marissa. How's it going, fam?
It is going fabulous. Oh my gosh, I'm going down to the beach today. I cannot wait. I love the sun.
The weather would be amazing.
It's going to be amazing and great. And so that is my plan for today, the beach.
Hey, rock and roll, boy. I know there's also a lot of big plans for a lot of Americans across the nation who are big boxing fans like myself. It feels like we've waited a full year, almost like 5 years in the making for this fight to finally happen. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta the Tank Davis will finally meet off in the ring tomorrow night. And, man, it has been electrifying. There's been a lot at stake. And, oh, my gosh, I got to show you guys this clip because it was clearly circulating across the world on social media this week. And both fighters have not been shy about putting everything on the line. So I'm going to show you guys the clip right now.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down. Let's do it. The whole person.
Yeah, you hear that?
That's a bet. Yes, let's bet. You hear me on the live? Let's bet.
So everything
for sure.
that you. No, I know.
Let's go. Let's make a contract. Let's sign it, both of us. Let's do it.
So, Marissa, as you clearly see here, have we seen this before? I know Conor McGregor was quick to tweet out. Has any competing fighters bet their purse against each other and then follow through? We should stop doing this. Fighting is tough. It can go any way. Luck plays a hell of a part. Don't be saying you're betting your fight purse against each other because it never happens. It's stupid. Train hard, fight hard, earn your dough, and then enjoy it. God bless.
I find it funny that Connor's saying that.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
I mean, I agree with his stance. I'm just like, really? Connor?
Yeah, out of all people. I mean, there were, you know how the Twitter mob goes, Marissa. They were quick to kind of clap back at him. It's like, you wouldn't necessarily be talking like this if you had another chance to go up against Khabib, for example. I know there was a lot of funny memes out there. One of them was Ryan Garcia post-fight when his team asked him why they haven't got paid.
Cold.
Yeah, it's definitely cold. And then there was another one says, Tank criticizing Ryan for being a social media star as he's on Instagram Live with the now permanently banned Twitch star Kai. So that is... Does he have a point?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets a little embarrassing. And I know there was another clip that was circulating because obviously there's been a lot of press conferences hyping up this fight. Clearly Showtime Boxing wanted to know what the hell was going on because this didn't happen during their media press conference. This, again, happened over social media. So let's go ahead and roll that clip, which I got here for you guys.
Yesterday on social media, you and Tank were going back and forth. And there was talk about, he said, would you bet your purse? You said, yeah, winner take all. What is the status of that?
I just hope that he's not talking about the purse he wears. That's all I'm worried about. Just don't, we're not talking about that purse you're wearing. We're talking about the whole fight purse. Let's bring it on.
Okay, Marissa. So the whole fight purse is out there. With that being said, I know you don't know a whole lot about boxing, but the reason I like asking you, Marissa Pitts, is you tend to know who's going to win every fight.
Because
every single time we do this.
Because I watch boxing, Chris. I actually watch it. So you saying I don't know much about boxing, I actually do watch boxing. Not as much as you. Agreed, but
these are some of the young guns in the scene. So with Gervonta the Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia,
I am going to go.
I'm
going with Garcia.
Really? So you think that left hook is what's going to make it happen?
I do. I think he's going to put his fist where his mouth is and go with two purses. I really think so.
My thing is, it's usually the person that does the most talking that gets laid down on the canvas. I'm going to go with Gervonta the Tank Davis, but we're going to see. We're on polar opposite ends.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet?
I already got a bet going on, so I got to reserve the cash flow.
You're so cheap. Come on. $20.
Okay, $20 on the line. I got
okay?
you. All
right, come on.
$20. Javante the Tank Davis.
All right, come on, Garcia. I expect it, pretty boy.
All
come
right.
on. Let's keep it going.
Right. We're just going to go with who wins. It doesn't matter what knockdown or what the scorecard is. It's whoever walks away with that W. You heard it here right now, first on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. So we're excited, but also we got to let the people know what's good. But before we even begin to let you guys know who's coming on the Chris Collins Show, I want to let you guys know to make sure you like and subscribe on wherever you're tuning into the Chris Collins Show right now, so you never miss a live show. And joining us is Emmy Award-winning triple threat Dwayne Kennedy. He's also, blown up in the scene as a stand-up comedian. He used to be on David Letterman at one point. We also got another triple threat. He's a writer, producer, director. He also had his chops in the scene as well. That is Scott Perlman. Man, they have an incredible film out that is talking about the Chicago comedy scene. It is called Out of the Loop, so we are looking forward to bringing them on live during the show. But also, I am excited to announce that I have a brand new Off the Fret, more music talk podcast that's going to be releasing later today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I got a Brooklyn, New York band, Wakely, that joined me talking about their debut LP that just dropped last week. It is a whole lot of fun. But you know what, Marissa? I think it's time to rock and roll. Let's get it, fam. This one's called Say It.
I'm beyond livid.
That's what's been irking me like crazy.
Psycho X.
We hope that he grows from this.
No, legit. I was trying to figure that out also.
Whatever's on our mind, there's something that's been griping.
So, I get to just say it.
That's my question, Marissa. Yo, what's good? This is Say It, where Marissa and I, we discuss what's ever circulating across the globe this week. And I know a lot of music lovers, they're getting ready to start heading out down to Coachella Valley for weekend 2. But weekend 1 brought in quite the drama. One of the main reasons is Frank Ocean. He made a return after 6 years of not performing live in concert. He was headlining Coachella week 1, but then fans were less than pleased with his performance. Comments were going quickly saying, turning up an hour late is never cool. So Frank Ocean literally pulled an Axl Rose. The other comment was he was an hour late and then literally didn't sing, just played his songs over the sound system. Thank God for the twerking security guard. Who would have thought that a twerking security guard would be the highlight to weekend 1 of Coachella? Also, we got Lowell. Anybody want to show him the video of Dave Grohl playing with the cast? It is. What's your thoughts on this now?
First off, he should have waited 7 years to come back because it was that disappointing.
Yes.
As far as not being able to see, you're right. But because he didn't live stream. So not only did he not live stream,
right,
he changed the entire set Sunday day, which is supposedly why he was an hour late. They were supposed to have ice skaters. He decided he didn't want it. He made them like de-ice the rink. Like, you know how long that takes? I would hate this guy right now.
Also,
if I was working that Coachella.
Well, he's not going to be headlining weekend 2. And I know there's a lot of fans that are not happy who bought tickets, starting at a price tag of $540 and up, wanting to see him now being replaced by a 3-chord progression band, Blink-182, who are making their reunion back after 9 years. But, you're absolutely correct. He didn't live stream his set. He's been accused a little bit of lip singing. I guess he broke his leg, Marissa,
that's
riding around on a bicycle.
And that's why they're saying he's not coming back for that weekend, which if that's the reason, okay, great. I just think he was wholly unprepared. I think he's a diva. Not impressed. I love his music. And just once again, another artist that I really dig. And then I find out kind of who they are. And I'm like, do I really want to give you my money?
Show up an hour late, then Coachella has to take the hit because they get fined every minute.
No, it's
you're over.
$1,000 for the first 5 minutes over. Yeah. And then $1,000 every minute over.
I mean, isn't that totally
that's
insane?
Crazy money.
I mean,
I'd be stage managing, cutting that shit right then.
No, Absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of like weird historical firsts. I also know that K-pop group Blackpink created history by headlining Weekend One as the first Korean act, which is pretty cool. But the four girls were also facing accusations of lip singing. And so let's go ahead and show one of the comments, which is, can't believe Coachella put a lip sync performance in the headliner spot. Blackpink. Also, they always perform like that. It's extremely pathetic. And another comment said, acting like other groups don't lip sync. But anyways, thank you for watching Blackpink at Coachella. They did so good, and look at Jenny glowing. I think it's really funny how people are so like okay with, you know, girl groups or boy groups or hip hop acts, you know, essentially doing a karaoke set, having the pre-recorded tracks louder than the actual microphone. What's up with that, Marissa?
It's annoying. I find it's the trend, and it honestly annoys me. I don't mind a backtrack; like it actually doesn't bother me, but I want to hear the artist's voice, whether they sound like crap or not. I don't care. I want to hear the artist's voice. So it's one of my pet peeves with most festivals nowadays is you're not going to see usually live singing or going on unless you know, it's an older band.
Okay, well, hey, rock and roll. You know how that goes, and we'll see if Weekend 2 definitely gives music lovers exactly what they wanted. Because again, people buy these tickets a year out in advance, so obviously we want you, the music lovers, to have a kick-ass time. And hey, we'll see how the cookie crumbles. But hey, stick around as we got more left on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Let's get it, fam. What's
We both hit it.
I didn't touch nothing. That's the beauty of live stream, baby. But hey, it's all good. What's good, listeners? Joining us on Just Talking is Emmy Award-winning triple threat and stand-up comedian Dwayne Kennedy, who I know,
is coming in just a second. He's
of live
coming
stream.
in.
He is definitely coming on in. But how did we get so lucky to get two triple threats? I got a producer, writer, and director live with us right now, Scott Perlman. So let's go ahead and bring him live up on screen. How you doing, my man? How you doing, Scott?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, man, we are doing blessed, my friend. And I know you got an incredible film out right now that's called Out of the Loop. So we might as well set the tone, let the people know what's good by playing the teaser trailer now for your film. So, Marissa, if you got it, let's roll the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the audience said something like a rat-faced Jew. Funny thing was, I was having a good set.
Did I know that it was a closed-minded racist club? Probably not.
If I'm a classical music lover and I walk into a rock and roll club, it's not what I was expecting to hear.
I'm tired. I'm weary. I'm like, yo!
The Cotton Club was a room full of gangsters and dope dealers.
Leaving condoms and coke all over the countertop.
And the club was packed to the point that people were violating all kinds of fire rules. They were sitting in the aisle.
I tried to come there when I was 19 or 20, and the guy wouldn't let me in. This cat was on stage, and the brother just jumped up in it.
It was like New Jack City.
And all of a sudden, a gun goes off.
Orlando was shocked.
That was a gig that I did for the money.
The best ending right there. I love it.
There's a lot going on in this teaser. So, Scott, and welcome, Dwayne, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. I mean, you've been in the scene for quite a while, from your David Letterman days to being an Emmy Award-winning stand-up comedian. It is so freaking badass.
I love that they call you the Picasso of comedy. When I heard that, I was like, brilliant. Absolutely love that.
So, gentlemen, set the tone. What's the premise of the film all about?
Tell them, Scottish.
Well, it basically just tells the history of Chicago stand-up comedy, starting with Tom Dreesen all the way to basically now. It features Dwayne heavily, who's a legend in the Chicago comedy scene. And it really explores how segregation and polarization of the city of Chicago itself is really reflected through the Chicago stand-up comedy scene.
And Scott, I know when we spoke real briefly, you're in the beautiful city of Barcelona right now as we're speaking. I mean, gosh, it's got to be a beautiful out there. But like, I can't imagine comedy's flourishing out there like it was in the scene of Chicago. So, did you have connections and ties in the stand-up comedy world that led you to want to create a film talking about this scene?
Well, I'm actually from Chicago, and I started my career doing stand-up in Chicago. So that's really what drew me in. I just happened to be in Barcelona now for other reasons. But funnily enough, they do have 2 improv clubs here and a stand-up club. And they're one of the improv clubs is in English, and the stand-up club is in English.
Oh, that's pretty badass. I like that.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that the crowds are a little bit different across the pond?
They're great. They're very just welcoming, and they love it. And I actually included in the documentary a clip of improv in Barcelona, like, because just coincidentally, someone had said that you could go to Europe and hear about Second City, and I happened to be coming to Europe, and I tracked down an improv club here, and I asked if I could film some stuff at the club, and the crowds were amazing. The performers were amazing. That happened to be in Catalan, and I didn't understand a word of it. But
yeah, they have a whole different language.
Yeah, it's a whole different language.
Not Spanish, totally not.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about stand-up comedy. You know, laughter and humor transcends globally. And what inspired you guys to want to do stand-up comedy, especially you, Dwayne?
What inspired me? Just, I always loved it. As a kid, I thought I was funny. And, just loved watching it on television. And just, I, as a kid, I remember thinking, man, I would like to do that someday. You think about a lot of things as a kid, and then time goes by, you kind of dismiss that. And then a little more time goes by, it's like, well, you know what? I've always wanted to try it. Let me give it a shot.
So, Dwayne, what would you say your style of humor is? Because I know you were talking about, in the documentary, some of the early times about how to try to find your voice, and you felt like politics was kind of the way that you like to lead your sets. Is that because that was just kind of the world that you grew up in? I mean, like, how does that work out?
Well, it was less politics than more just like social conditions, and just because of the way if you live your life.
Do you think that's the problem with like today? We don't know the difference because it seems like there's a lot of things you could get away with in the 1980s.
Chris might not know the difference. I know the difference between politics.
No,
and
I
social
obviously do, but I mean, it definitely seems like there's, like what are some of those challenges?
You're fired. Nah.
I'll be laughing on your set. Don't worry.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I guess like, there's a totally different times where, you have to work the crowd a lot differently compared to being live in the Comedy Store compared to now like the emergence of social media where, comedians, they can start to make a living through social media. And how has the game completely changed?
Well, yeah, that is the whole thing, man. And now with, like I said, the advent of social media, people don't have to leave the house to make a living, which is it's, I don't know, man. It's good in the sense it gives more exposure to people, and it gives people more exposure to comedy. But sometimes what can happen is these people who do like these internet sensations sometimes, and then they'll go into a club and don't have
the same energy or the same flow. They don't know how to work the crowd because they're working for one user.
And I can totally understand that because I tried my hand at stand-up comedy, and so I wrote the stuff, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really, really funny, and I'm a funny person. I could do this, and I went on stage, and my friends were like, how interesting. You're so funny in person, but horrible as a stand-up. And I was like, oh, my heart, because I was doing the material without getting that live feedback. So I can totally understand the difference of being on social media, having this niche, and then trying to translate it to a live experience. Totally different.
Right. You have to learn audience dynamics. It takes a minute. I mean, like anything, it takes a while to get good at it, and it wasn't had you stuck it out, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, in a month or 2 or 3 or a year or 4 or 5 years, you might have been.
Could have got a laugh.
Yeah.
Well, do you
There's
notice
this
with
great
some of
line
these?
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say, because Scott, you did film edit, this documentary as well, and I'm just curious between both of you gentlemen. It seems like I notice it, but I wonder if you, as the comedian, notice it. It sometimes feels like, with TikTok videos of comedy or wherever you're checking out your stand-up bits, they feel so edited. Like they even remove like even the fuck ups that even happen live during the gig. Like sometimes they're not always necessarily like a prank or a skit. Like it's actually a live show, but then edited for a 1-minute YouTube short. Do you see that being a problem essentially, with the emergence of, live shows and comedy coming back?
Yeah, I think it's just different art forms. I think that there's video and then there's stand up and you can't ever really recreate the energy of a live show, and that's why sitcoms film to get that live audience feedback, because it affects timing, it just affects the energy of the performances. So I think that it's just two totally different things, and sometimes one translates better to video and one will translate better to a live thing.
Mm-hmm. And what's this that I'm hearing, throughout, it feels like in the film Out of the Loop, one comic, said, me going to Chicago was like going to Oz. Is that like the Mecca for, comedy? Because we always hear, the comedy club in LA, we hear about, Gotham Night in New York. Is Chicago the sleeper?
Well, I don't know if it's a sleeper, but I mean, I think people have known about it for a while, but Chicago is definitely a great place to develop as a stand-up. It's been for a long time. Like I said in the film, like Chicago is a great place to get good. It's not the place to get famous, but it's where you go and get your chops and, you learn. And I want to say this before we go further, that this whole project was initiated by a comedian, a guy named Michael Alexander. And it was through his initiation and his impetus that this thing got created in the first place. He decided that he wanted to make a document about Chicago stand-up comedians, because nothing had really ever been done to that extent. So I just, I don't ever want to gloss over that it was through his initiative that this whole thing really happened, because
Yeah, no, I love so much that you also, all of you, honored Bernie Mac. One of my all-time favorites, passed away way too young, on there, and set the standard. And I had honestly forgotten that that's where he came up also with Chicago. I actually totally forgot about that. I watch a lot of documentaries and I watch a lot of comedian stuff too, because I love comics. And this was definitely done so well, and it wasn't what I expected. Like I expected, okay, typical comedy, I'm going to learn about it, but I was riveted. I mean, and I'm saying something from honest heart. I was riveted into your documentary because of the history of Chicago that bled through. It wasn't just, oh, here's a comic, here's a comic, here's a comic. It was like a blending of America, how we change, the history within it, our humor that changes, what comes out of it. I mean, there was hope. I mean, there was so much like unpacked in it. And I mean,
but you know what? One of the
really
things that I learned in the film, though, Marissa, which I thought was really cool, was would it even work today in 2023? You know how comedy would like get introduced in jazz clubs where there would be a singer and then a comedian, then a singer again, and then the comedian would come up. Do you think that would work in 2023?
You know what? That's a good question, man. I would like to see that. That
would be fun.
I'd go to it.
I think in some ways I would prefer to do comedy in a place like that. I don't know. It would just depend. I thought about this. I think about a lot of things that I don't do.
He's the Picasso.
But as far as going down to some of these jazz rooms and seeing if they would be open to putting on comedians like you said, like some of them used to do. The Improv in New York started as a music club, and that was the thing. They would just introduce comedians, and I think they just saw, hey man, comedians is cheap labor. Let's just do comedy.
Well, maybe
the first place I ever did stand up at was an amateur rap, hip hop, and comedy night. So it was a variety thing.
So we got rap battles, comedy bits.
Scott
Scott, did you start off in the rap battles before you did your
he was a battle rapper.
I gotta see that in person. That'd be freaking hilarious. But, I got to say, like, when I think about comedy in general, especially when I think about the year 2022, all we kept hearing for the longest time was, like, the death of comedy, cancel culture's out to get us, But now it feels like in the year 2023, the new norm of comedy is just, mocking the woke culture. Like, who's handcuffing comedians?
I don't think anybody's handcuffing comedians.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So,
it's just that's just now another vein of comedy. The thing that I think is cool is that with the advent of just the internet and just as culture has expanded, comedy has it's become the people who do comedy has become more inclusive. So there's something for everybody, and it's if you don't like this thing, then you can go over here. So I don't think there's necessarily a cancel culture, but there might be a place where you can do comedy that they won't accept the things that you're saying, but
no, absolutely, Dwayne. I think you're getting into exactly the point that I'm trying to say, because it's like, we kept hearing about cancel culture. It's going to be out to come and get us. I think about, the nominations for Best Comedy Album in this year's Grammys. We both had Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K., which were supposedly supposed to be canceled for some of their, political or cultural comments. That's been kind of circulating.
CK was sexual. Throw that one out. That one wasn't political.
Well, he was also
sexual. Argue that
he showed his wee-wee. That one's a sexual.
No, absolutely. But there was also a very funny comment that was in Out of the Loop, kind of addressing
that was great.
But
she's like, I'll be on Carnegie Hall. I don't care. Pull up that dick. I was like, yes.
That's the greatest compliment for a female comedian.
The honesty.
Let me
Yes,
tell you about my
baby.
views on NAFTA with my pants down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm right here in the Inland Empire, and it seems like, a lot of people are kind of like up in the antics. Like, I heard a gal that just recently saw Carlos Mencia right here at the Ontario Improv, and she says at the very end of his skit, he pulls down his pants and flashes the crowd. I went, really? Like,
okay,
that's cool. But then, there was something that Chris Rock said.
Disappointing for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
He better be hung. I'm like, if you're gonna pull out your dick, you better be hung. Like, I want to be like, damn, okay, share that with
disappointment.
like little tiny pinkies. You can just keep it in, boys. Keep it in. Come on.
There's
the difference between North Side and South Side comedy.
Yeah. I want it South Sides, all right? Okay, I know where that is hanging.
But there's something that Chris Rock recently said, and he said, quote, remove controversy and fearlessness from comedy and the acts will fall flat. Would you agree?
I do agree that to it. Yes, I do. And I sometimes, even now, I did a set a couple nights ago. It's like, man, I wish I'd just taken more chances. You take chances, you say what you have to say, and then you let the audience decide whether they're going to accept it or not accept it. But you should at least be able to put it out there, yeah. So I think people sometimes will give you the lane that you should be in,
dictate for you.
Yeah.
I remember people saying that there's a big difference between the comics who try to go to the audience versus the comics that have the audience come to them.
Yeah.
But doesn't it kind of feel like that? Because I notice a lot of videos on TikTok when it comes to the new cats in the scene for stand-up comedy. It's almost like they're hoping to go viral because they get that weird crowd interaction. Like I saw a video with Jamie Kennedy. He was up on stage and he was just like egging this guy on, a drunk dude. And then he finally gets up on stage and he's like, yeah, I feel like he's the terrorist and he just took over the cockpit. It's like, don't you think after a while it might get kind of dangerous for the scene of comedy to start, engaging with an audience on that kind of personal level?
It could be, but that's the chance people have always taken. Even before, woke and the internet, there's I remember this is a classic. It's online now, but this is before the internet, where there's this guitar comic. You know what I'm talking about, Scottish? Yeah, this cat was playing guitar and he was being heckled, and the heckling went, I guess, too long for my man's taste, and he took that guitar and just went upside my man's. When
Oh my gosh,
was
that's like a
shown-
Billy Joe Armstrong, jumping into the crowd and just karate chopping
Yeah.
him.
That's probably the last time that homeboy heckled. That was it. He learned his lesson.
Yeah,
But that was, some of the things that you guys.
I once was performing in Wisconsin, and I had a guy rush the stage because I made fun of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
It doesn't have to be terrible.
Hey, good thing Will Smith wasn't in that crowd. You for sure getting caught.
Right.
There was a line in Out of the Loop that stuck with me, and one gentleman put it, funny is funny. Well, that's bullshit. Funny is funny depending on who's listening. I totally agree. When I think about some of my favorite music, do we really go to music reviews to be like, oh, that guy really trashed the new 72 seasons of Metallica. I don't know if I'm going to be listening to it anymore. So do stand-up comedians actually feel the pressure to appease to everyone?
I'm sure some do.
But not you.
Well, I mean, I'm better about not doing that. I try not to pander. You know what it is? You meet the audience. You try to appeal to an audience with what you think is funny. You don't want to pander to them, but you certainly want them to laugh. But you want them to laugh on your terms.
Yeah, because I know, Dwayne, you were talking about, and, Scott, you guys explored it in your film, Out of the Loop, some of the segregated parts of the Chicago scene. And did that kind of help you become the career stand-up comedian that you are today, being able to work the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, in Chicago, a lot of things are referred to in racial terms. And I came up primarily in white clubs. Zanies is a quote unquote white club. So I was used to, because I was, as a kid, I mean, when my parents divorced, we moved from the south side of Chicago to the south suburbs that at the time was predominantly white, So I think I was socialized in that way. It's ironic that I was comfortable doing comedy in front of white folks, but my circle of friends was primarily black. But just on stage, I would, so it wasn't something it took me really any time to get acclimated to. I was used to doing. My issue was then going to do shows in front of predominantly black crowds. That was the thing that made me more nervous, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
Just because I think it was my sensibility. I think my sensibility was not. It's a lot of things.
I totally get you, but I felt like it does part of it also too that comes with comedy is this like to throw away all the random baggage, like because I know one person put it in the film, part of being a comedian is making no money and bombing for a living, so you almost have to essentially embrace that because you could be the most AAA stand-up comedian and they still bomb live on stage. So So, what happens, when a crowd goes completely silent? Like, how do you guys work the crowd? I'm always curious on how that works.
You know what? It depends on why you're bombing and who you're bombing in front of. Because sometimes you could be, you're not having a good set, things aren't landing, and that's one thing. But then when sometimes you feel like, man, this is good material. It's not, the thing is, it's not me, it's you all. So sometimes and sometimes it would be a point where I'd be on stage and if things weren't going well, you say, you know what? Rather than trying to save the set, let me see how far down I can go.
If I'm gonna burn, we're all gonna go.
Yeah. Let me see who I can take with me.
Yeah. Do you see that comedians are being paid more now? I mean, I know that you talked about making only $10 on a show, if that, sometimes just free. Do you see comedians getting their worth? Because I always felt bad, like hearing that, knowing you're every Friday night, every Saturday night, you're out there not only learning, but then doing it and then not even being able to pay your bills with your art.
Well, I mean, there's certainly there's a time when that happens, and comedians I think are show business's greatest resource because we work cheap, we're self-contained, and if there's a good comedian, they can be used for any they can be used in any number of situations as hosts, MCs, the party guests, the this, the that, but a lot of times, ironically, people see that as they don't value it. and they don't they see it as sort of expendable, you know. And it's like, if it's not you, I can get somebody else because I'm just really trying to sell drinks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it takes a minute before you reach, I don't know, a stature, whatever it is, where you're getting paid, you know, compensated reasonably for what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, Dwayne. And I think, you know,
for free, and people still do it for $20 a show, but then some people can make 20,000 a show.
Right.
Yeah, if you just keep perfecting your craft, good things will come. Like they say, you know, you got to be 10 years in the game to actually be a professional at what you guys do. But I think what you guys have out right now today for all the listening audience to check out, Out of the Loop, it is an incredible film. And for anybody that wants to go ahead and check it out, where do they tune in?
You can get it on anywhere that you can stream movies on, Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, all of those places, like satellite, like pay-per-view.
It's that simple. Just like how we can pick up our
And
stand-up
it really
comedy.
is good. Peeps, I'm telling you, this is definitely a documentary you don't want to sleep on. I don't always say that for every movie. Usually most movies are good we bring in, or documentaries, but this one, definitely worth putting the time in to see it.
No, it's definitely really good, guys. And thank you guys again for joining the Chris College Show Millennial Talk Show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Yes, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. Let's see if Chris is going to come back in if he was frozen, but we are in Strike a Chord. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So, is Chris back in here yet? Nope.
No, I got glitched out. You know how
you're still glitching, homie. You're still glitching.
I know. I'm glitching. I didn't want you.
All right, as he comes back, so just so you know, this week on Strike a Chord, that we'll be giving you your first look at the 8th installment of Off the Fret, more music talk, featuring Nashville country star Amanda Cookski, today at 3 p.m. on YouTube, wherever you listen. So please go on, jump on, listen to her. She is fabulous. If you're into a Taylor Swift life, that is who you want to check out, up and coming Amanda Cookski.
But yeah, you know, but before we even get into that was super good for trying to recover it. I appreciate you. It's always funny how, you know, the whole goddamn... stop it, Chris. Stop with all the cussing now. You got to stop with all this. Live streaming can be so infuriating sometimes, people. But let me set the tone because we wanted to talk about some music news first. But yes, Marissa, I am definitely jazzed. I got a brand new Off the Fret, more music talk podcast that's going to be releasing later today at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It features a Brooklyn, New York act, Wakely, as we discuss their debut LP. But before we even get into all that, I definitely wanted to discuss one of the bigger news that's circulating in the music industry this week, and that is Universal Music Group has reported or has responded to an AI-generated song that went viral using the voice of Drake and The Weeknd, which they're calling it fraud because, you know, they are utilizing the AI and previous sound bites of these artists to create music. So with Universal Music Group, they are coming after the streaming platforms and have called for the ban of the technology. So if you guys haven't heard it, I have a clip of it right now, and let me tell you, it's pretty trippy.
The flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left. She know what she need, or she blessed. Giving my best. Yeah, I got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back. What's with that? 21, I love him, then my brother, that's my slack. Metro made the beat, so you know that it's gon' slap. Yeah, it's gon' slap. Tell her run it back. Talking to a diva, yeah, she on my nerves. She think that I need her, kick her to the curb. All I know is you couldn't have the world,
So the song was created by a TikTok creator named Ghostwriter977, and it's kind of funny how he calls himself the Ghostwriter because was it AI or was it the ghost? Dun dun dun. So yeah, I mean they're essentially coming after this song because it got over 15 million streams, and the minute Universal Music Group heard about this, listened to it, they were not cool with it. So the comments were definitely active. One of them wrote, "If you told me this was a leak from an old mixtape, I would have 100% believed you. Imagine where this is in a year." Obviously, there are a ton of major copyright questions and whatnot, but you can't deny that this is going to become a huge thing really quickly. Another comment wrote, "As an old file sharing app, I can say with confidence that banning AI is not the solution to the music industry's problems." Super funny if we all know everything about LimeWire growing up. And as Thomas put it, "A Snow Patrol download destroyed my CPU." And last, it's not a good thing at all. Eventually, the labels will develop a, quote, "if you can't beat them, join them" attitude, which will eventually lead to more than a label just owning your music rights. They'll own your voice too. It's terrifying, and we need to stop feeding into it. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to stop feeding into it. There's only going to be more and more of this circulating. I know one of our very, very early, like year one guest, anime star Erica Harlackers kind of spoke about this in her space, because she is, a part of, Seven Deadly Sins, Sailor Moon, and etc.
And anime is seeing the AI issue the most out of all the platforms. They can create the exact replica of the voice they want off of 2 of your words. And then they can just re-loop your sound in different. It is absolutely fascinating what is being done. I love the advancement of science, but as an artist, this really does scare me.
But doesn't this get kind of tricky? Because Marissa, this kind of feels like a modern Napster move, though, from from Universal Music Group, because we were celebrating 3 weeks ago all those viral clips of all the presidents, having their voices, making it sound like they're in a game lobby together, playing your favorite video game. So that's funny. So what's stopping those ex-presidents from, suing you for copyrighted on their quote-unquote voice?
I mean, I guess it could be, but I think the difference is when you go in knowing it's satire, when you go in knowing an AI generated this, like it's that's one thing. To me, I find it hilarious. Okay, fine, I can get behind that. But when you are trying to pass it off as the actual person, then there's a problem.
So that's when it becomes the problem. It's not so much the copyright of the voice. Because I know, it's going to get so good later on that, you won't even need to use previous sound bites. You'll be able to create these audio waves without the artist. So then, essentially, it won't be tied to Drake or The Weeknd. You'll just be like, no, it sounds like them.
Yeah.
How do you hold that up in court? This is going to be wild, fam. This is all
it's one of the reasons why a lot of our high tech, Elon Musk, why they have asked for a complete stop on AI development, because they said our society is so behind how even to deal with stuff like this. This simple little question about, okay, so then what happens? And we're not even geared, we're not ready for it. And something very, very detrimental can happen to our society if we do not slow down. I'm for AI, but I am with the, I'm going to listen to the bigs up there, the big heads.
Well, there's a reason why there's a thing called the FCC, FDA, the aviation groups, what I'm saying? So yes, there is going to be a point where, AI is definitely going to be tackled. Very wild, fam. This is going to be developing more and more in the future. But yes, the very first AI generated song taken down. Also, since Marissa, she helped me out, she was such a beautiful soul at the top of Strike a Chord. I'm excited to announce the 9th installment of Off the Fret, More Music Talk, featuring Brooklyn, New York band Wakely, as I sit down with frontman Alex Ballmer to discuss their brand new debut LP, out now. But I was able to get that early listen, sit down with them. It was so much fun. And I have an exclusive clip for everybody to hype up the release of this interview, dropping today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is where I was asking Alex about, overcoming the difficult process of writing their hit single Tug of War. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that clip right now, fam. So let's get it. You guys were recording your debut LP. You guys consistently switched instruments? Like you swapped roles? What is this, Freaky Friday?
Yeah, there was definitely, a lot of passing around instruments. None of us got on the drum set other than.
Oh, okay. So the drums is off the limits. What?
Yeah,
you can't keep a beat, can't keep a rhythm. You and Elliot.
Yeah, no, can't keep. We have no sense of rhythm. And he's a lefty drummer, so that like.
Hey, I'm a lefty too. I know how that
Yeah,
is. I mean, a
right.
lot of my friends when they come over, they're like, "What am I looking at?"
Yeah, what is it? 11% of the world's a lefty, maybe less. 9?
Yeah, probably less.
Something like that. I could have just.
Yeah, every time I go to Guitar Center, and I bet your brother feels the same way. He's like, "Dude, I'd love to play on that bitching drum set, but like, this ain't gonna work out, fam."
Yeah, he's got the on guitars too. I think he plays a little guitar, so he plays righty guitar. But yeah, we switched instruments. Like, there are some guitar lines that Elliot helped write. There were some guitars or Dan wrote a lot of the guitar parts. I think there were some bass parts that I helped write as well. Yeah, we just try to keep it as collaborative as possible. I think like the more skin in the game everybody has, the more enthused they're going to be about the project.
The song that is your music video that you guys dropped, Tug of War. You had a really difficult time trying to come up with the vocal patterns and the lyrics to this track. And am I correct by saying that you guys turned on Shark Tank music and started doing your own pitches with the band?
That's actually no joke. I wish there was good footage of this.
Yes, that would have been so awesome.
We might have a couple videos of it, but like we were so stuck on that song. Like we loved jamming to it. We loved playing it. We had like just a few vocal ideas, but nothing really stuck. And it was like getting time to where we were like really trying to finish the album. And yeah, so we like all got in my room here and we just like put that song, like we started with the verse. We put like literally just one phrase of the verse on loop. And we set a timer for like 20 minutes where we all were just like by ourselves. We're all in this room for 20 minutes. No one said a word. And we were just like each trying to come up with a melody and like some lyrical content around it. And so like we walked in, basically we like would play the Shark Tank music and then like one of us would walk in and like pitch the melody and the lyrics to us. I wish there was footage of that.
Dude,
that was
okay. Well, here, listen. I could do the whole dun 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 dun. So, Alex, like, since we're here, on camera, could you give us kind of an idea of your original pitch when you went to go propose it to the group?
I'm not going to sing a cappella right now. If that's what,
so that was your first step. You started singing right away. You didn't give yourself like, hey, this is going to be the clear message that I want to get across. It was like, nah, man. I've already gone through the whole instrumental on loop. I'm gonna just start singing. That's how you approached it.
Yeah, there was no. I don't know. It was definitely
no PowerPoint.
No PowerPoint. No slides. No laser pointers. Nothing. It was just like straight to the point. Let's hear it.
Oh, man, it was so much fun sitting down with Alex and talking about his new record. I know these guys are incredibly stoked to finally release this new material out to the world. You're going to find out that they're still very hungry. They already are working on new music as we were talking about promoting the record that's about to drop. That was so insane. The album is out today wherever you listen to music. It's totally groovy. I want to set the tone since we did kind of talk a little bit about, exploring how they got to the end product, which is Tug of War. So I have that music video right now here on Strike a Chord live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. So let's go ahead, get ready to ramp up that music video and set the tone, baby. Let's get the party rolling. Let's get it, fam. Alex and David, the twin brothers of Wakely, and their good friend Elliot have created an incredible record. It is their debut LP. Go ahead and check that out wherever you listen to music. But today at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we will be releasing the 9th installment of Off the Fret, More Music Talk, featuring this incredible act. So, man, if you want to join the party, you already know what's good. But since, Marissa, we do have like a couple minutes left here on Strike a Chord, we might as well talk about this topic because Elon Musk, he's back at it again. Obviously, we're not talking about AI. Trust me, we're not talking about it anymore. But we're talking about the blue Twitter check marks. Definitely causing up a storm. I know a lot of rock and roll acts, heavy metal acts have spoken out, but I thought the one that really stuck out with me the most, Marissa, was Akon. And he originally lashed out against Elon Musk, saying, back in the day, Twitter was begging musicians to stay on because it literally had nobody, no following, no influencers, no celebrities, no musicians. Now you're taking away the security of our credibility because you want to get paid. And then now we're hearing that Elon Musk is paying for certain celebrity statuses. Like, what in the world's going on?
Yeah, that's doesn't surprise me.
Isn't that weird though?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, Instagram has it now. You can get Instagram
but
verified for $12.99 a month.
Well, if you're gonna have everybody do it, that you might as well hold up to that standard, right? But then again, I guess it is his platform, so he can do whatever the hell he wants.
He can do what he wants. He's a billionaire, right? I'm not surprised he's paying for certain friends.
But will musicians like actually revolt and leave the platform to go somewhere else? I just have a hard time.
I mean, if I was making that kind of money, I would pay the security check because it wouldn't bother me. Just me personally, like I would do it. I mean, just because like you get a lot of your followers on there, you don't want to be hacked. I mean, I consider it like a security measure in that sense. I know Instagram now has one for $12.99 a month.
Meta group.
Way more money than Twitter's. But I mean, I'm not surprised. It sucks, but it's like, okay, if I was rich, I had it. I think it's for the other people who maybe might be social media stars and stuff like that on here. I think it's a harder pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, to me, I would feel like it wouldn't necessarily rock people's boats, but then it is also kind of strange too at the same time that you have, someone like Hillary Clinton who got her blue check removed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you almost feel like there's certain people that probably do need to have it, because you don't want anybody to kind of like how we have with the AI conversation.
I would pay for it if my following was as large as these artists are. Just to make sure it is my voice being on there and it's my thoughts and it's not just someone hacking in. If I was on that
or to get
level.
confused of somebody else. No, it's definitely a real thing. It's definitely pretty wild. We'll see how Elon Musk handles these situations. But yes, this is again Strike a Chord, where we break down all the latest music news, industry talk, and so much more. And I'm gonna shout it out one last time because I'm so freaking excited. Wakely's Off the Fret, More Music Talk podcast will be dropping today at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. But stick around as we got more left on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. There's a lot of good in this world. You just got to go out there and look for it. I know channels 2 through 11, they bring a lot of negative press. There's always some car chase, some killing, etc. But, this was a positive enlightenment that happened this week where Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has been cleared to resume football activities after suffering a cardiac arrest during an NFL game that scared all fans of sports in the month of January. So here's Damar Hamlin addressing the press.
It was life-changing, but it's not the end of my story. So I'm here to announce that I plan on making a comeback to the NFL. So the diagnosis of pretty much what happened to me was basically commodio cordis. It's a direct blow at a specific point in your heartbeat that causes cardiac arrest. And 5 to 7 seconds later, you fall out. And that's pretty much what everyone's seen January 2nd of this year.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those really, really scary moments. I know a lot of fans were quick to respond online saying, I'm sorry, I wouldn't go back. Also, there was another comment that said, it's a different ball game with cardiac arrest, and I hope those doctors give him around-the-clock care before, during, and after those games. I'm very happy for him to return, but I feel like sometimes we push ourselves when our body has given us clear warning signs to, I'm sure he weighed his options, and not living in fear was one he picked. Just pray for him, y'all. I think it's really cool that he's, pursuing his football career. If there's one person that knows if he can truly make it happen, that's Damar Hamlin.
And I'd go back. I mean, think about it, how he was hit and what it was. It was like he said, it was a freak incident. It was not because there's something wrong with his heart. It's just that it got hit during a specific time of a beat, and that it could happen to anyone, right? I mean, that's one of the dangers of football itself, but I don't think it has to be necessarily like he has a weak heart. Right. I don't think he would have been cleared. They wouldn't have brought him back in.
Yeah, right.
I definitely think it was the right choice. Go live your dream. Go after. You never know when we die, right? He is cleared to go back, and I'm excited to see him on the field.
It's just like how we're all excited to see Tua, from the Miami Dolphins, make his grand return. Yeah, all these concussions are very scary. I think, what the NFL has been doing recently, when they see a person get a concussion one game, well, you're going to sit out the next game, and then you'll be back in 2 weeks from now. I think that's an okay protocol for everybody to agree to, unless you're playing fantasy. But who cares about fantasy? It's all about protecting the players at the end of the day. But we also want to give another last shout out to our amazing guests that joined us for Just Talking. 2 triple threats. That is Dwayne Kennedy and Scott Perlman. They got an amazing comedy film exploring the Chicago scene in stand-up comedy. It's so cool. It's called Out of the Loop, and you can check it out wherever you listen or watch, all of your OTTs at. That's, Hulu, Apple TV, Tubi, all that, etc. It's out there, fam. It is so freaking badass. And also check out my brand new Off the Fret, More Music Talk podcast featuring Brooklyn, New York band Wakely, out today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for everybody that's tuning into the Chris Collins Show, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a live show. And I know Henrik the Wreck wants to say this as well. Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as we do a video game talk show called Rage Quit, while we talk about viral meltdowns, industry talk, gaming news, and so much more. But for now, enjoy the weekend, fam, and I will see you next week. Peace. What's good? It's Chris from the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, featuring Nashville singer-songwriter Amanda Cooksey, known for her breakup songs, crop tops, and TikTok covers, is a refreshing new voice in country music. Joins Off the Fret. More music talk. What's good, party people? Chris Collins Show presents Music Storm 2022, hosted by Chris Collins and Marissa Pitts, featuring Royals, Hurricane Highway, Cannibal Kids, Amanda Cooksey, Astoria State, Kid Dad, Resounding, Sleep Cycles, Avenues, Freckles, Weather Worn, Just True, Sophia Marie, Music Storm 2022. Available wherever you listen to podcasts. our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat.
Hello.
You would look
Can you
so
hear me?
jazzy. I love your outfit. How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? Everything is everything, and I guarantee you're gonna hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
Has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you. And you know what? I love it. Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.